Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bella here. In today's video, I want to talk about what we can do to improve our spoken English when we cannot get a complete sentence out. If you're interested, please keep watching. If you find the content helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss a video with me. Without further ado, let's get started. A common issue for a lot of English learners after not speaking English for a long time or simply not getting enough practice in the past is that we can't even say a complete sentence in English without having to stop over and over again to think about how to express certain ideas. A sentence that would have taken other people 5 seconds to finish ends up taking us about a minute. And right after we finish it, we then realize we have just made a huge mistake. Now it's too late to take it back. Embarrassment, shame, or pure disappointment once again stops us from uttering another word in English. From then on is just a vicious cycle. We know we need to practice our spoken English, or at the very least learn a few common lines for the casual conversations, but we're always too scared to try. If this is what you're going through right now, there are a few things you can do to improve your situation and eventually learn to express yourself in complete sentences. 1. Make sure to have as much language input as possible. Our first reaction to not being able to speak a full sentence tends to be, I'll just speak more. But it doesn't really work that way. Think about how we learned Chinese when we were babies. We listen to people speak Chinese around us. We also listen to TVs, songs, and many other sources of input. The same goes for English learning. To be able to speak a full sentence in English, we must first hear how that is done by English speakers. It's crucial for us to expose ourselves to all kinds of language contexts, daily conversations, talk shows, interviews, and so on. Not only that, we also need to adopt different listening practices in order to maximize our gains. With audio files that contain mostly conversational phrases and structures, we want to try intensive listening, where we listen to the audio file over and over again to try to understand and remember every word in it. That's a great way for us to stock up the common expressions so that they are readily available for our future practice. For others, we can simply stick with extensive listening, where we try to understand the gist of the meanings. Most of us very naturally prefer extensive listening over intensive listening because it doesn't require us to sit down and pay 100% of our attention. But that's exactly why we will expect a lot more progress from intensive listening and why we need to practice it regularly. 2. Stick with simple, short sentences first. This is a suggestion that I would give to any English learner, and it is something that I stand by firmly. There seems to be this misconception that when we speak English, we need to take the grammar knowledge to the extreme and think of the most complicated sentence anyone has ever created. If we really need to talk like that, it won't be long before the English language dies out, because that defeats the purpose of language. Language exists so that people can exchange information and ideas. The most effective communication is one where ideas are expressed in a concise and precise manner. And that, for us English learners, should be the ultimate goal. A lot of times it's not that we can't finish a full sentence, but more so that the sentence we're trying to put together is way more complicated than it needs to be. Naturally, the longer the sentence is, the longer it's going to take us to put it together. You will be surprised to learn that you can actually express most of your ideas with the simplest sentence structures. 3. Spend more time learning common phrases instead of trying to translate everything. I'm not a believer in translating everything from English to Chinese when we're expressing ideas in English. I think that's a big reason why a lot of us cannot achieve fluency in our spoken English. Now, I'm not saying that you can never translate anything from Chinese to English. All I'm saying is that you will be better off not relying on translation in the long term. It takes time to go through the translation process, and it doesn't always yield the ideal results. When we're doing that, we're often overlooking the fundamental differences between the two languages. Some ideas that we express in Chinese are often not delivered in the same way in English. What we want to focus on is learning those commonly used phrases and sentence structures and the proper contexts to use them in. For example, when we want to talk about the consequence of something, we can use expressions like because of that, as a result, or consequently. And when we want to show we agree with somebody on something, we can say, I'm 100% with you. You're absolutely right. Or simply, my thoughts exactly. Once we're able to use expressions like that more and more frequently, our speech fluency will also improve because we don't need nearly as long to think about our word choices. I've also mentioned what are considered as good expressions in one of my previous videos. Please feel free to check it out. Alright, that's it for today's video. Please let me know if you have any questions or suggestions. Feel free to leave them down below in the comment area. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Until next time, take care.